All right. Hey, JJ, I'll try to send this to you. This is just a regular pork butt. I don't know how big it was, 10 pounds, 12 pounds, something like that. I made a brine, or not brine, I made a injection. And you buy injections, pork injections, Cosmic Q, there's a whole bunch of them out there. This, if you want to make something like this, an easy one, just for a pork butt, would be take one cup of apple juice, 1 cup of pineapple juice, 2 tablespoons of any hot sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and if you have dry mustard, a tablespoon of dry mustard in it. I think I used I think it was a half cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of salt. I use kosher salt, don't use table salt. You'll have to get kosher salt or diamond salt or something like that. You don't want to use table salt, you want to use something like that. So this is just anyway, so what I'm going to do with this, got an injector. If you never, I know you inject that pork thing in the night, but I always put a little oil in there so it makes better suction. But I'm going to inject this every couple inches. It'll swell up a little bit, but I'm going to basically use the whole thing that I made. And I made a double batch, but I'm going to use a bunch of it. And then what I don't use, I'm going to pour in and around it and put saran wrap on this, put it in the fridge for about 5-6 hours. The pineapple juice helps break down the fat, so you don't want it to. I wouldn't go 12 hours or 24 hours on this because it'll just start solidifying all the fat. So you don't want to do that. And the reason I have it in a container like this, when you inject these pork butts, I don't know if you can see that. You probably can see that. It'll spray out. So I'm trying to save my counters and everything else, but I don't know. See how it just plumps up? So that's what you want. I'm going to do it about every inch. If it comes out, it's no big deal. It's going to lay there. In like 2 hours, I'll flip it over. I might even take my injector and pull the liquid out around the sides of this and inject it again. Depends, but this adds a lot of flavor. Let's see, you see that squirt out? I don't know if you saw that or not, but anyway, I'm going to do this. Just keep injecting it. It'll plump up. I'm using a little bit of cup because it's just easier than trying to get in that jar. So, but I always kind of keep my hand over top of it too, so it won't spray all over my freaking kitchen. Then, I got to let less clean up. I don't have my wife yelling at me for about messing the kitchen up. So, but when I made this, I put it in a saucepan on the stove and heat it up so I can melt all the sugars and stuff. And I don't really bring it up to a boil, but I get it almost to a boil. I get to a simmer. That way all the sugars and salts melt. And then I put it in a jar and I put it in my refrigerator. I made this yesterday, so if you could see this, actually got a bubble of the sauces right. I mean the injections right there. It's actually under the skin. So, but like I said, I'm not worried about sticking raw pork and then putting the needle down this jar because this whole jar is going to go in here. So it's not a food police might be on me about it, cross contamination or contamination or whatever, but it's all going in here anyway. So, but yeah, the pineapple juice and apple juice are natural. You can take one of these, put it in a crock pot, not even inject it. Take an onion and put it down the bottom of the crock pot. Take this pork butt, put it on top of it, then fill the crock pot with apple juice, and then cook it for 8 hours, and you'll have really good pulled pork. Works pretty good. When I first started making, before I started smoking stuff, when I first started making pulled pork, that's some old man told me that, and I tried it a couple times. It worked really well. If you have an Instant Pot, you can do it. You can actually cheat and put stuff like liquid smoke into it, which I don't care for liquid smoke. I think it's kind of nasty. But people put it in all kinds of stuff, barbecue sauces, whatnot. Anyway, I'm gonna do this. Inject. I'm gonna roll it over and inject in the sides. I'm gonna inject into the money muscle. And I'm gonna flip it over. There's tubes in the middle of this stuff. If you ever really tear one apart, you'll find the tubes, and the tubes they're actually about that big around. There's like, I don't know, 6 of them or something like that in there, and they're pretty nice. They're, if you don't chop it up, they're real. They string out real nice. It's really good. It's really good on a sandwich. But on the top side where you got the fat, you'll have like this fat side. Underneath this layer, you got like a layer of fat and a little layer of meat, another layer of fat. Well, that's people call that the bacon, and that's really delicious, especially if it's slow cooked right. But anyway, this is boring. I'm going to keep doing this, and then I'll show you when I put it on the smoker. I'll show you when it gets done in a couple hours.